Back in court, the matter of rape-accused Pastor Timothy Omotoso has been remanded until the 2nd of April for judgment. In closing arguments, the state stated that the rape allegations of the witness should be considered in the judge's final judgment because it's very unlikely that the witnesses would all speak of isolated rape or sexual assault against the accused. Now, the defense argued that the accused be acquitted on all charges because of the unfairness of the trial, as well as the inability of the state to sufficiently cross-examine the accused. SABC News reporter Lerato Fekisi has more.
We are broadcasting outside the Gqeberha High Court, where the case of rape-accused Pastor Timothy Omotoso and his two co-accused has been remanded until the 2nd of April for final judgment. During presentations of closing arguments, the state pretty much summarized their case by saying that the judge must consider the statements brought forward by the witnesses as truthful and not as the defense alleges that they were suborned by the defense to commit perjury, but in fact that there was a common denominator among all witnesses, that at some point when they were in the Mhlanga house and the GDI, they were sexually violated or allegedly sexually violated by Timothy Omotoso. So the state did say that their witnesses did come forward revealing very harmful and very explicitly how allegedly Timothy Omotoso, when they were under him as a mentor, as a spiritual father, did allegedly sexually assault them. The state also then went forward to say that the witnesses also did come forward and state that the two co-accused must also be tried or must also be charged because all the witnesses did that somehow in their statement did say that the two did also buy them in or were working with Omotoso to traffic them to the house in Mhlanga. Then the defense came forward and they stated that in fact the involvement of State Prosecutor Ntolo, who accused himself from this case, must be considered, that his alleged involvement in the case where the defense alleges that Ntolo did conspire to make the witnesses commit perjury, then renders this case as unfair, saying that the judge must consider the fact that the witnesses could have lied on the stand because Ntolo was involved with them and did also speak to them. Also interesting that was raised during this case was Judge Omaskuman, who then asked that on all the charges brought forward by the state, why were they not properly cross-examined? I state that she stated that she's shocked that the state had ample time, 9 days, to cross-examine the accused on the charges brought forward by the state, but not at all were these witnesses or these accused given a chance to then state their case on the charges, saying that she's shocked this was not done. But I'm joined now by the spokesperson of the MPA in the Eastern Cape, Ms. Lerato, to tell us more about this case and whether they really believe that in fact their case is still strong. Mr. We heard this afternoon the judge stating that she's very shocked that the state had 9 days to state their case, or at least 9 days to cross-examine the accused, and they didn't. And perhaps this was a stumbling block, you would state, on the side of the state.
I don't think the judge said we did not cross-examine, but she believed that we could have done more. And that is the only issue she raised. After, remember, we were asked to submit written heads of arguments that we did submit. The only issue that she raised is on the part of the cross-examination of the witnesses, which is where we believe that she still has to go and weigh the evidence that was presented of all our witnesses in this case that has been on the roll for 7 years, and weigh against the evidence of the three, actually the bad denial of the three accused. Because when they were led by their defense, they did indicate that against all the charges, they were going to deny that they ever committed them. And for the state, it was just to prove or to re-emphasize the fact that they were denying whatever was put against them, which was now heads of arguments that all they did was a bad denial. So we still believe that when the judge considers the evidence in its entirety, more especially the evidence, overwhelming evidence that has been presented by the state in this case, she will find on our favor.
Mr. Tali, there's the issue of Ncebantelo, I know who is recusing himself from this case, but Doberman hampered hard on that, saying that the judge cannot set aside the unfairness of his involvement, where he alleges Ncebantelo did suborn witnesses to commit perjury. And is that something that you perhaps are concerned about, even though during the mistrial it was put aside? Do you think that it might also affect the overall judgment by Judge Omotoso?
As stated inside court, that we can't throw the baby with the bathwater. Here we need to look at the fairness and weigh it against the evidence that is overwhelming against the accused persons. Then would that negate their guilt if the prosecutor that has since been removed from the case, he did not recuse himself. He was removed by the NPA and the new team was put on board. And then we believe that even the evidence that was presented by the witnesses that were led by Mr. Ntelo was not found to have been that much contradictory. Actually, the judge did not find against the credibility of these witnesses. She only raised issues with the conduct of the previous prosecutor. Now she has to go and look at the evidence and satisfy herself as to whether did what was perceived as Mr. Ntelo influencing the witnesses did have a bearing on the truthfulness of the witnesses.